Morning guys, and welcome back again in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. It's about 8 in the morning and the traffic just started to get heavier. It's my last day in Ho Chi Minh. Today I'm leaving for Da Nang. Now, when I got here, mate, the first day was a nightmare. Why? Well, watch this video all the way to the end and find out what stupid things, or things I should say, I did or happened to me that cost me $500 plus and a lot of other drama. So don't be that guy. Watch this video and you'll find out what not to do. Man, one thing is super confusing. Every time I check the traffic when I cross the road, I'm keep looking at my right, where here I drive on the other side of the road, then back home in Australia where we drive on the left hand side. So every time I look at right, I'm like, oh yeah, it's good to go. And then I turn to the left and there's a big bus coming to mine. Man, it's confusing, it takes a bit of time. Anyway, back to my story, guys. This is ridiculous, right? I'm pretty sure it's my fault, but let me tell you a little bit of background. So I applied my Vietnam visa, normal visa, you know, that cost me Australian $40. It comes after 3 days or 4 days. Anyway, the visa came, no issues at all. I got my visa printed out, got my ticket, got to Sydney airport, and mind you, I am in Canberra, so I have to get a bus, which takes 3 hours to Sydney. This will add up later, why it's important, why I'm telling you this. It will become one of the factors for making the decision I made at the time. Anyway, I got to the airport and I handed her my passport and they asked me for the visa. That's a standard requirement. And she looked at the visa and then she looked at the visa for a little bit longer than I expect. And my heart kind of started, slowing down. I'm like, what's going on here? Anyway, little did I know, on my passport details, instead of expiry December, which is number 12, I must have put it 11. Now, I don't know how did that happen. Anyway, she said, I can't let you on the flight, or I can't even let you, go to Vietnam based on these details because it's classified as a fraudulent information. However, there is an option for you. You can go to the flight center, which is within the airport, and they usually deal with this kind of stuff. Apparently happens very often. So I went to the flight center, spoke to them, and I said, what's going on? And they said, that's fine. We will get you the visa sorted. We'll give you paperwork. You land at the Vietnam airport. Someone will be waiting for you with your name on it, and they will hand you over a piece of paper. I'm like, awesome, that sounds good. She said, it's gonna cost you $500. I'm like, oh, $500? You're joking? She said, nah. Anyway, there's a lot of thinking going at the time. My flight had to leave within 2 hours, so I have to make a decision. So I said, you know what? It doesn't look like, I'm left home, left Canberra. There's no point with me going back to Canberra and, change the dates and stuff. Because the airline did say that to me. They were nice. They said, look, we can change your flights to 2 weeks from now. That should give you enough time to reapply a normal visa, which would cost me $40. So my tickets were not changeable, but this is what I'm talking about. See, now my right back home, if that's what I look, I'm thinking no traffic's coming at me. But here, this is what I look for. And now obviously it's gonna turn the other way around. It's just confusing, gets a while to get used to it. I almost got hit by a car yesterday. As soon as I turned to my left, man, he just brushed past me, not even close, just brushed past me. That was me silly. Anyway, so the airline said, even though your ticket is not changeable, I'm happy to give you 2 weeks from now, no extra cost. You can fly straight on the same flight after 2 weeks. I had a bit of thinking. The trip wasn't really a planned trip, so I thought, you know what, don't worry about it. I'm gonna get the visa, $500, I paid. Took them 5 minutes, took my photo, spoke to someone in Vietnam, and they say, yep, confirmed. Send me an email, give me a piece of paper, which is not a visa, which just says that I can leave Australia and my visa is getting organized at the port. So I got that, went back to the airline counter, and she said, yep, that's all good. Where's your return ticket? I said, I didn't buy one. She said, well, you need to have a return ticket or exit ticket. That's the policy. And I'm like, you're joking. They're right. Yes, I should have that. But because my plans were like, I didn't really plan, and I wanted to just go and go from there how I feel. Maybe I go to Cambodia, go to Laos, Brunei. I don't know. I didn't really have any plans. I just left, just got my tickets and left. I looked at it. I'm like, look, I'll buy exit ticket. So I bought on the spot a cheap, like an exit, I think I bought it to Bangkok from Ho Chi Minh. That was good enough for me to get out. She's like, that's good, off you go. Anyway, finally landed in Ho Chi Minh City and I got out of the plane. I was thinking about, not missing out on this guy who's be holding my name up so I can, go with him and get my visa sorted. Anyway, so as soon as I got out of the aircraft, this guy was holding like a bunch of, looks like a 20, 30 pages, or you can call them visas, individual. And he gave me one, he said, what's your name? Yep, there you go. And I'm like, all right, there's a lot more people. It's not just me. But I lined up in the immigration and I was talking to one of these girls who was back from Australia, and I was telling her, how it's been super intense, the whole trip. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, hang on a second, something doesn't look right. And I said, I didn't bring my backpack from the plane. And she's like, are you joking? I'm like, no. I said, can you hold my spot because the immigration line's getting bigger? I said, I'll run back and I grabbed my carry-on luggage. So I ran back to the plane. They were holding my bag and looking around. I'm like, oh, that's me. Anyway, they gave me the bag and I was like, all right, this should be it, right? There shouldn't be any more dramas. Nah, there's still more to come. Anyway, so I lined up at the immigration, back on my spot again, and the immigration officer, took my paperwork. Took a couple of minutes, and I'm like, oh yeah, should be all right. And for the first time, yes, everything was all right. And I got out of the airport. We got in a taxi because we decided we were going in the same kind of area, but my hotel was going to come first, and then she was going to continue with the taxi to her hotel. All good, no dramas at all. We got to my hotel, and then we got out, and I'm getting my bag out, and she's like, which one is the hotel? I'm like, this one here. It says, Tom Cock or whatever that name was. And looking around, and the place looks shady as. There's no one there, or a bunch of people was hanging around. It's dark. The hotel didn't look like a hotel at all because it was and there's some sort of construction happening. I'm like, that doesn't look right, eh? Anyway, so I'm looking around, couldn't find anyone. Spoke to a cafe next door. They had no clue. And one bloke said, oh, they're here. Some other one said, no, they're not here. So I did a bit of a walk through these stairwells, and I'm like, this is a nightmare, right? Hey, this is just not stopping. It's just life just giving it to me, one thing after another. Anyway, ended up making to the place, and nah, mate, it wasn't like the pictures. There was no staff, there was no communication. They just left the key, and it was all weird kind of set up. And I spoke to this girl. I said, look, I don't feel like staying here. I think I had enough drama throughout the day, so I might have to book another hotel. So she said, look, I'll give my hotel a call and maybe they have a room for you tonight. I'm like, sure. Lucky, there was another room. Now, when we got there, was everything okay? You would think so, but nah, there was more shit coming at my way. Anyway, so her hotel was literally on one of these alleys next to the famous Brewing Street, which is a pretty happening area. That's a positive that's going to play out later, a really good role in this whole sad story. We got to this place, and this is the street. This is a street where the hotel was at for that night. That's Brewing Street. It's literally here. Nice happening place. We got to the hotel, and man, it was like the staff looked alright, but the hotel looked so shady as well. But because there were so many people who was drinking and walking around, that kind of made me feel, okay, you know what? It's not, I'm gonna get killed here tonight like the other place. No one would even know if that would have happened. So I literally, I said, it doesn't matter. One night, put my bags in there. There was some shady stairwell, and we're going up the stairwell. There's no lifts, and I'm carrying my bags, and man, it was a drama. It was actually a drama. And anyway, so we ended up leaving the bags and go out for drinks, and that was it for that night. There were more stuff coming next morning. So next morning she knocked on my door. She said, look, there's bad news. Initially we spoke to these guys and they said, look, we can give you one night just for tonight, and then tomorrow morning we have to check double check what the booking situation looks like, which is fair enough. Next morning she knocked on my door and she said, Sammy, bad news, they don't have another room for you for other 2 nights. And she was leaving, she was only staying here for 1 night. She's like, look, I can't even much help you because I have to go back to my village. Anyway, she said, look, what we can do is let's walk around this street, because when we were a night before walking around to the Brewing Street, and I did see a few hotels, I'm like, look, they look nice. You know, I can see the potential here. We've walked to 1 or 2, and I spoke to them first, and I looked at first. I'm like, okay, it's staffed. It looks clean. The reception is good. And I said, look, can I have a look at the room first? So she, took me up. I look at the room. I'm like, oh, thank God, this is I can do. This is much, much better than the first and even the second place we had to stay for 1 night. So I paid, I think it was like 550, so 35 Australian dollars roughly for a night, which is pretty average or decent on cheaper end, I would say, for Ho Chi Minh City. Ho Chi Minh is a bit expensive, or any capital city or big city is going to be more expensive than the rural areas. Anyway, so that's not a big deal. So that morning I'm like, you know what, before I found a hotel, I was really upset. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get out of Ho Chi Minh City. So I woke up and booked my flights and accommodation in Da Nang. I said, I need to relax. I need to get out of here. My initial plan was to leave on Monday, but I said, I'll leave on Sunday because I had to stay here for the weekend. I'm like, I have to deal with it. You know, it doesn't matter. Even if I have to stay at that older hotel, back that one, it's doable. So this is it, guys. So these are the mistakes I have made. Make sure when you get your visa, just because you got a visa, it doesn't mean you're good to go. Looking at those tiny details for like extra 5-10 minutes, it can save you a lot of money and hassle and all the trouble. It's just like a domino effect. One thing goes wrong and then it just continues. Usually you think 3 things go wrong, they always say that, but in my case I think there were like bloody 5 or something. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do that now, and don't forget to press the bell icon so you can get the notifications for my next videos. My Vietnam tour continues, so there'll be more videos coming up, and I'm hoping to see you on those videos very soon. Until then, goodbye and take care. So here we are, Ho Chi Minh finish. Next stop is Da Nang. Stay tuned.